Hi everyone, who's enjoying WordCamp so far? Yes, thank goodness. So a bit about me, as the introduction is, my name's Lisa. I am from LJH Website Design. I'm also the founder of Aussie Divi Community on Facebook, and at the present moment we have about 260 members that specialise and use Divi, and we are currently in the process of expanding that community further. We're also in the process of building a web directory for members, and that will be able to be accessible from anyone that uses Divi. So the aim would be for graphic designers that have had experience with Divi, to content writers, to other developers and such. So hopefully that will come out soon, and please join, and everything should be really good for that. So a bit about me. So my love for website design started when my first child was born. So that was around 1996 when the internet first started. And I actually used a program called Coffee Cup, which was one of the original what you see, what you get websites. So is anyone familiar with Coffee Cup? Yeah. So that's where my love first started for website design. Unfortunately, life took hold and I had to move away from that, and had many years with customer service and so on to keep going. So over the last couple of years, I've started to transition that hobby of website design over to my fully fledged business. And I'm almost at the point now where I can actually do website design full time. And that has been able to happen due to Divi. If it hadn't been for Divi, I probably would still be doing the work that I'd done previously. So let's go back in and discuss Divi. So Divi's had a really big change in the last 3 weeks. About 3 weeks ago, they introduced their theme builder. So it was always a page builder, but we've now actually gone over to a theme builder where we can do the customized headers and footers. So one of those key features are to be able to do a visual builder, or you can actually just do a normal back-end builder. Sorry, it's my first time as well. So we have, again, the standard editor or the visual builder. And the other bits and pieces that we do have is a drop and drag component that we'll be able to move around your modules for easy use. Another thing that we have is the visual editing and responsiveness on those modules. A lot of them can be done via front end as well. Another really nice component is actually the visual builder and being able to change your global styling, which makes it really nice to see the size of your text and everything that you have while you're moving. And then we also have the facility to be able to extend your styling across all of the components. So if you wanted to change the style of one button, you can actually right click and actually change the extended buttons right across your whole website. And then of course you've also got your templates, where if you were new to Divi and new to building websites, that it is fairly self-done via templates, and it's just a matter of changing text and images to suit. So with the new changeover for 4.0, the biggest thing that we've been able to do now is to be able to do global settings on your headers, footers, and within your body, and also for your blog posts and a couple of other things. Now that was previously done with plugins, but now it's all inbuilt. You've got that less bulk and so on. So we'll just go over a couple of the quick things in relations to the global settings. But the big thing to remember at all times is you don't have to use the global settings. You can still use the normal menu settings that already is there. So to be able to actually start using the visual builder, we actually need to go back to our dashboard and go back to the Divi Theme Builder, which is located within Divi, and then of course Theme Builder. One nice thing that we have with this new facility is, again, with the pages and so on, you can actually do your portability and being able to import and export any of your settings. So in this instance, I've actually gone through and I've imported just a standard release that Divi gave out for when they first released 4.0, and I've actually imported them in, and we can see that we've got the global header and the global footer. So what we're going to do is just look at the different components within those footers and headers, just to see what you can actually do. So here is a difference that we can see by doing this imported header, is that we can see that we've got the secondary menu, we've got a secondary search facility, we have our social media icons and links, we have our menu with our centered logo, and we also have a call to action button as well. And with these with this new area, you're not limited to what you actually can put in there. That's probably one of the nicest things, that you can replicate so many different menu types now. We can also, sorry. We can actually go through and we can see that it was imported. And here we're just going through the parts of adding our social media and such. And again, also we can also do exactly the same for our footer. And if we go through and we refresh the site, we can see it all live. Okay, so the other new feature is that you're able to dedicate what your posts actually look like. So it's not, you don't have to go in and build that post page every single time. You can set up your template, and then every single time you go to do a post, it's actually exactly the same way as you want it to be. So again, we're just going to go through the parts that we can actually look at setting up on our posts, and then we'll go from there. Again, we can import, for this purpose of the demonstration, I've imported the posts that were released by Elegant Themes. And when you actually import it, it states that it's already got a header and footer, and it asks you whether or not you actually want to keep those, or whether or not you want to relink the ones that you initially had. And that's a really big thing, because you can have different headers and footers to different pages. So here we can see that we've now imported the post types, and again we've got the global header, the global footer, and we've got the custom body. At this stage, the global header and footer is exactly the same as the default, but if we wanted to actually create a new one, we could actually delete those and then re-enter them through. The other really nice thing is that we can actually format our text. So we can actually go through and set our H1 headings, what fonts we want, whether or not it's a centered centered text, and we can actually go through and do that right across, so we know that every single post is exactly the same. The other really nice thing that we can do is that we can set up our category types on the blog post pages. So we can actually, it's easier to be able to go to select what categories you want and search for as well. Again, it's just more styling images. products is actually going to be much the same. So again, we've actually just imported the template that we had available to us. Again, it's got the global header and footer. And again, if we wanted to, we could actually not have them, or we could produce our own ones for what we need to. So what we're going to do is have a look at some of the formatting that we can do for our product types. So here we can see that we can enter lots of information into our post type for our products. So in this instance here, I've actually put the breadcrumbs down, and if you can't, excuse me, I've also got our category listings, our product name, and lots of other different things as well. And the other nice thing is be able to have your upselling of your products. For your related products, you'll be able to leave reviews for your products as well. And I just think it's a nicer styling than what previously had. And that it's a lot of it that's done by the dynamic content within your text modules. Again, we can see here for the product reviews, we can set that up. Our review listings. Our next one that we're going to look at is our 404 pages. So who's gone to a website before and have tried to search for something and it not actually direct you anywhere to be able to help? So yeah, so that was the ideal. I know for my personal self that a couple of my first websites I never actually did a 404 page. Now this makes it a lot easier for me because it's sitting there and it's stating that we can do it. So what we do is that you build your custom body, and in this instance I've just taken the template from Elegant Themes. We're basically saying that we've got a problem, we can't find the page you're looking for, and that you need to go back to the home page, which is sitting there. Now, all of our sections have template settings, and this is how we direct what actually as an example, the 404 page, we go through, we set up the template and we select it that it is for the 404 page. And we can do that by the search results, our products and our blog types. So that's really good. I feel like I'm talking a million miles an hour, so sorry. So setting up the templates. So again, with the settings, I can actually tell Divi where I want pieces to be structured and how it's to be structured. Probably going through this a lot faster than I anticipated. So my next part of our presentation is in relation to our Divi help and support and the systems, safe modes, and Divi Elegant Theme support. So just a few things that I know a fair few of the Facebook groups, and a lot of people report problems, and some of the first questions that are asked is whether or not they've checked their system status within Divi. Now, who's checked their system status before with Divi? Yeah, have you always had green lights, or have there been red lights? Yeah. Okay, I know a couple of times that I've had a couple of red lights and then I've had to go through and just change a couple of the settings. A lot of them you can do within your PHP, and they do recommend that you have a PHP of 7.2 or higher, and we can actually change these settings within those PHPs. But sometimes you need to maybe ask your host to change them, or if you know what you're doing within your access, you can actually go in and make those changes yourself. When you've got a fully fledged, nice, optimal system, Divi actually doesn't actually advise you that it's wrong, it just lets you know that you're successful, but you can see a full report, and on the full report it actually shows you all the green lights, so you can see exactly where everything is and is nice and neat. The next situation would be is that you've completed some updates and you're finding that you've got plugin conflict, but you're not sure where that plugin conflict is or whether or not it's a plugin that you've just added. Something doesn't seem right, but you don't want to go through and deactivate that plugin. You don't know whether or not it's a hosting or whether or not it's a WordPress issue. You can actually take your Divi website into safe mode. Has anyone used safe mode before to see whether or not their site's working? It's a really good one to try to learn to use. It's great for when you're doing updates, and if you don't see anything that quite looks okay, you can go in, change it to safe mode, and only yourself see those changes. So the live environment doesn't get touched. And that's really nice as well. So you can see whether or not your plugin is an issue, and then if it is an issue, then you can go and actually deactivate that plugin and then try again. Another great access point via this section here is your support group to Elegant Themes, where you can actually get them authorization for remote access, or you can actually chat to them via online and be able to troubleshoot. They take over your machine and then they can make sure everything's okay. So the extensive library for recommended websites, blogs, YouTube channels, there's so many out there that it's not funny. Here's a couple of brief ones that I found that helps with myself. Of course, you've got your Elegant Themes. The one thing I've got used to looking at, especially since 4.0 has been released, is actually the changelog in Divi, just to see what they have actually changed and what they're working on. I've just found it easier that to see where, and I can familiarise myself with that issue prior to updating, so I know where to look for when there is a problem. A couple of other really good resources that I use. Divi Space, Divi Soup, Aspen Grove, Divi Life. I've actually started to do one of the Divi Life courses, so that's always nice as well. The other one that I use lots of, and especially if I've got a client that's very undecisive of what they actually need to look at or what their page, what they want their website to look like, I actually send them over to the Divi Theme examples, and then they can get a good idea of what Divi is actually capable of. Because I think a lot of people don't realise the capabilities that it has, and that's a really good one to do. And then of course I've also got the Elegant Marketplace, and then they've got a couple of great plugins and that you can use. I think Elegant Marketplace has the Divi Cloud, and that's got 3 user types that you can actually purchase themes from as well. So the next screen that I've got is your YouTube tutorials and people that discuss Divi. All very good presenters. I really enjoy Divi Chat. There's some really good discussion points in relation to that. We've got our own Australian Sarah Oates that's on that site as well and helps with the Divi Chat. Hi Sarah. So yeah, it's really good and very informative. So that is probably the end of my presentation. As I said, I probably went through that way too fast. But yeah, if you've got any questions, that would be great.
Hi.
Hey.
What's Divi Cloud? Can you explain that and what you use it
for?
for?
Yeah, so Divi Cloud is a plugin, and it actually has a facility where you can purchase a membership site. Sorry, not membership site, it's a theme site. So you can actually have access to, I think, depending on the scale of membership that you have, you could have 270 different templates that you can actually look at and use, and you just import them into your Divi library and use them from that way.
Do you create the templates, or
it comes with those templates, and you can just import them in. It's the same way as using the Elegant Theme templates. So it's, yeah, just gives you more options. So I actually use those ones, and also the Divi Soup, no, not Divi Soup, Divi Life ones as well. So, yeah.
I've got a question.
Yep.
And if you can't answer this, maybe Sarah could.
Yep.
What's the... We were talking earlier about the Visual Builder freezing when you're using it. Do you have any troubleshooting advice for what happens when Visual Builder freezes, or
I found,
should I quit out and start again? Nothing seems to work for me.
Yeah, I find that if I actually, sometimes it can be a bit clunky, and many people mention that fact. I actually find that if I save it prior to going out, I can actually go back to the desktop and then go back into it. A lot of my changes have actually saved, but I lose that freezing and can start again.
I've got clients who... The Visual Builders tends to wax and wane. Sometimes they can use it and sometimes...
Yeah. Have you had a look at your system status to make sure that you've all got green lights? Do you have
Actually,
any?
I haven't on their
So
site.
have
That's
a quick
good
look
idea.
at that and just see whether or not they've got a full green light system, because you might find that the execution time
Speed.
is out, and then that's what it is.
Right, yeah, good call, thanks.
Thanks so much for the presentation. It was
Thank
great. I was wondering if you had any tips around plugins, I guess, that you see as must have on a website with Divi. Obviously, the new build has taken the need for a lot of them out, but is there still ones that you would recommend putting on to I guess every Divi website you build?
Yeah. So every Divi website that I built always have word defense. So it's those key ones that you wouldn't normally, anything that's related to Divi, depending on what it is. As an example, I took off one of my Divi plugins that cover WooCommerce, because there was no use having that in there when now Divi actually has that, because it was conflicting. So it's those ones that you would have. So like CPT taxonomies, that one I wouldn't put on anymore. So it's not necessarily to state that I won't use them, because I still may have customers that won't want to upgrade, and there's so many people who are so scared to update their Divi, because ultimately we all worry about what those updates do. So there is people out there that won't update, they don't have a license, their original developer used their license, they don't have a license anymore. So you have to work with what you've got, therefore you'd still use some of those plugins.
And just, can I ask a second question? Just a slightly different question in terms of training your clients in Divi. Is there anything that you provide them to help them use the system?
So I do a detailed instruction booklet that I hand over with my clients, and that booklet also has their hosting login details, their Divi login details, and all the vital information that they've got. And if they're only doing blog posts, they would only have sections on how to add media, how to add a blog post, and that's all. And everything else is locked down. I think Jasmine was talking about locking down, Emma was locking down the Divi, where you right click and you can actually lock the areas that you don't want your customers to actually edit and change.
Great. Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you. I've got two questions, and the first one is, can you have two different headers so that when you scroll down you get a different header, like the logo changes, or?
Well, you've got your secondary menu and you can have your main menu. So you probably could, but I don't think that would work look-wise either.
Yeah.
I don't think they have that at the moment.
Yeah.
Right, I think I've got a plugin that does that, and I wondered if the
you
new
can possibly
Divi4
do it
does
with custom CSS.
Right, okay. The second question is that if you've already designed product pages or headers, can you then go reverse engineering and put them, like say, I want this as my global, and it would take all of the CSS and make it your global?
From my understanding is that you should be able to export it into your library and then import it into...
So you export it and then import it.
Correct.
Great, thank you.
Any more questions?
Hi, thanks for the presentation.
Thank you.
I'm very newbie about this WordPress. I attended the previous presentation about the Elementor. Just wondering whether how easy and like what's the best for in terms of the page builder.
Unfortunately, I can't comment. I've been developing websites for the last 5 years, and I've only used Divi.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's, I just find it so much easier to work with than, I just haven't had the need to go and look at another builder
All right.
as such.
Thanks.
I can share. I just want to say to anyone that's not on Divi, I don't know if you said this, Lisa, one of the best things about Divi is the online community.
Correct. And that's the one big thing that I want to make with Aussie Divi community. We've got the Facebook group, and as I said, we're trying to organise, I'm trying to build the membership site as well, and then that is going to be so valuable for our Australian community anyway, to be able to find a graphic designer that knows Divi and knows your talk, what you need for sizing and ratios and everything like that. I think that's going to be a really big thing, especially also with SEO specialists and content marketing. They know where to go, they know where to look and things like that to be able to use it.
Is that all? Okay, thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
And